Sebastian County retirement home is facing some serious allegations after its owner was arrested, accused of failing to report possible abuse. 5 News reporter Laura Castleman is here with what we know tonight.
Barling Police arrested Linda Short, the owner of the Sebastian County Retirement Center, Thursday morning. She's now facing a charge for failing to report adult maltreatment. Investigators say this stems from an ongoing rape investigation at the facility. During that investigation, police discovered Short, who is considered a mandated reporter, did not follow the proper reporting procedures. I reached out to the Department of Human Services, and a spokesperson tells me that the next step will be a licensing investigation. Laura Castleman, 5 News.
Thank you, Laura. New tonight, we have an update in the trial for the man accused of killing 2 people at Devil's Den State Park. Andrew McGann's attorneys are asking the judge to let him come to court in civilian clothes and without restraints. It's been about 2 months since any new filings in the case, but this latest motion argues that having McGann in jail clothes or in restraints could influence how a jury sees him. Back in August, a Washington County judge issued a gag order preventing anyone involved from making public statements about this. That's why we haven't heard much since his first court appearance. McGann is set to be back in court November 14th. Meanwhile, in Fort Smith, police have arrested a 16-year-old boy almost 3 weeks after the teen allegedly robbed a convenience store. This happened back on October 10th at the Roosters Food Mart on Johnson and 50th. Jacavian Milton allegedly struck an employee with a handgun before going on the run. Police say he was taken into custody last night for the charge and for other warrants, and they say the investigation is still ongoing. An Oklahoma man has been found guilty of abuse of a corpse after police say he dumped a body in a well in Little River County. Chance Cathy was arrested last year after state police got reports of a body found near the Oklahoma-Arkansas border. Cathy has now been sentenced to 30 years in the Arkansas Department of Corrections. The Oklahoma Attorney General has now said he plans to dismiss any cases filed against tribal citizens for hunting without a license on tribal land. That goes against a statement made earlier this month by the state's Department of Wildlife Conservation. That statement said game wardens would issue citations to anyone, including tribal citizens who didn't have a license. The Choctaw Nation responded soon after, saying they have a legal agreement that allows them to fish on multiple reservations in Oklahoma. The AG says this was, quote, another senseless attempt to ignore the sovereignty of the tribal nations. Around Arkansas, 5 grants totaling over $4.6 million were awarded to state ports and intermodal authorities. One of those grants was awarded to the Fort Smith Port Authority on the Arkansas River, totaling nearly $2 million. Officials say the money will be used for warehouse space, a material storage pad, and signage. The funding comes from the state's Waterway Development Grant Program, which helps protect the state's commercially navigable waterways. Well, meanwhile, at the state capitol, Arkansas Secretary of State Cole Jester announces the state has found hundreds of people illegally registered to vote. He says roughly 240 non-citizens were found through a federal verification system called the SAVE program. And even though they think it may have just been 30 to 40 who actually voted, they won't stop until it's 0.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you voted Republican or if you voted Democrat. What matters is that you had the right to vote and you used it. And when people who aren't U.S. citizens vote in an election in Arkansas, they dilute the right of the people to vote.
The state is removing those names and giving people on that list 30 days to prove citizenship. Meanwhile, a new candidate has put her name in the running for the vacant state Senate seat in District 26. Stacey Smith of Greenwood says she'll run for the Republican primary, which is currently set for March 3rd, but it could be moved up sooner amid the pending lawsuit against the governor. 4 other Republicans expressed interest in running. The official filing period to get in the primary starts on Monday. For the last 30 days, we've been covering a possible child care crisis here in the Natural State. And tonight, we're learning a temporary solution could come before the November 1st deadline even gets here. Earlier today, the Arkansas Early Childhood Commission agreed to recommend some changes to proposed funding cuts that child care providers have said would be devastating for them. The changes are recommended by child care providers, and now the commission will go to the state for approval.
We're hopeful. And we're kind of on pins and needles waiting for tomorrow for an actual announcement to come out to if they actually make changes.
Our immediate call to action is to urge Governor Sanders and Secretary Oliva to move forward with those proposals as the commission has asked for them to be done.
Child care providers say the changes wouldn't be a permanent solution, but they would keep them afloat for a couple of months. Tonight, the city of Mayflower is now without its mayor, animal control officer, chief of police, and a city council member after each of them resigned in the last 10 days. Catherine Rowley was in Mayflower today and spoke to community members about the changes.
This is not a surprise to a lot of Mayflower residents. This is not a surprise.
And again, only thing I'm seeking is transparency and accountability.
In her resignation letter, Lisa Kosman, former animal control officer for Mayflower, cites that she can no longer continue under a city council that treats employees as if they were replaceable and fails to recognize hard work and sacrifice. And the concern over the conversation of euthanizing animals at the shelter. For lifelong resident Madison Morris, she worries that the resignations could cause more problems.
Catastrophic to lose her as our animal control officer. It is catastrophic, and I don't think they realize the repercussions. I think their whole plan is to shut that shelter down, and that's just my opinion.
Only thing I'm seeking is transparency and accountability.
As for the ongoing sentiment in the town, Morris explained that this is an unprecedented time for the town.
But this is a mass exodus that this town has never seen. This has never been, I'm very involved in our community. I've grown up here. I have neighbors that I've known since I was little. I've never seen our community so unhappy with the council.
I've lived here for about 8 years now. Love the community, love the people, and my personal opinion is the biggest issue is the lack of transparency and the lack of accountability.
That's Chris Robertson. He says that while there have been conversations online, it doesn't provide answers as to the questions that community members face, especially with questions that have arose over the use of taxpayer dollars that have gone to the animal shelter.
Especially within a small community, I think that information should be provided to the community. I don't think it should have to be such a, FOIable situation, especially when we have city officials resigning left and right. Why isn't the community provided an update, a status of what actually is going on?
Going forward, these community members are asking for the city council to share more information with the community.
What I want to tell the council is I expect you to do better with my money. And we all do.
That was Catherine Rowley reporting. A member of the Mayflower City Council says the council never voted on euthanizing animals, and they know where all taxpayer funds are being allocated. She also reached out to the former mayor, animal control, and chief of Mayflower Police, but did not hear back tonight.